Now, the movement of 5-1 is integral to jazz standards. It's one way that we get back home to chord 1. But there are other ways we can do that, more maybe interesting harmonic pathways, which A, helps you understand chords in jazz standards more readily, and B, gives you better or maybe more interesting colourful options and ways to play over, say, 2-5-1s and 5-1s. So in this lesson, I'll break down what those ways are, how you can practice them to give yourself more colours when both comping and soloing. It's essentially having more interesting ways of making the changes. There are 3 really useful dominant chords to get back home to chord 1, with the first one obviously being the primary dominant, 5-7. In the key of C, that would be G7. In a 2-5-1, that would be a D minor 7. G7, our primary dominant, back home to C major 7. Like we get in the A section of Take the A Train. G7 to C has that pull because of the flat 7 of a G7 and F going down to the 3rd of C. And also the 3rd going up to the root. So flat 7 to 3 and 3 to root. And making the changes kind of line over that 2-5-1 in C major with the primary dominant, G7 might sound like this. A 1, 2, 3, 4. I deliberately played that without a backing track because you should be able to hear those changes. That's the whole point of using arpeggios. Now, if we took the harmonized C major scale and inserted a chord between chord 1 and chord 2, what would be called a flat 2 chord, and make that a dominant, we'd have what's called the tritone. I'm sure most of you have heard of that. That's an alternative way to get home that is more dissonant than chord 5 and has a stronger pull to chord 1 because of it being so close to chord 1. And it has that kind of downward chromatic movement. For instance, in a 2-5-1, we could sub out the G7 and play the tritone, so the flat 2 dominant, flat 2-7, which would be D flat, maybe go D minor 9, D flat 9 to C major 9, like this. And that works because, like I said, that downward chromatic falling into chord 1, but also G7, the primary dominant, and the tritone, in this case D flat 7, they share 50% of the same notes. The shared notes between the tritone and the flat 7 are really easy to see between chord shapes. There's these 2 notes, F and B. The 7th and 3rd of G7 are also the 3rd and 7th of D flat 7. So if you compare these chord shapes, this D flat 9, we've got those 2 notes in there, and it's also in there, so 2 notes are shared. And the chromatic downward pulls of flat 2 to 1, tritone to 1. If we take the arpeggio, let's find those. You've got that's the arpeggio of D flat 7. You got the root of D flat going down to the root of C. You've got the 3rd, obviously, going down to the 3rd because it's just chromatically above. Same with the 5th. And the flat 7 of the tritone goes up a semitone to C. So that's all the close connections between the tritone and the 1 chord in the key of C. I should just say I annotated that D flat 7 arpeggio with the intervals in relation to G, so against the sound of a G in the bass. So, and what you get, rather than 1, 3, 5, flat 7, against a G7, you're getting flat 5, 3, flat 9, and 3rd. And that's because D flat 7 is no longer 1, 3, 5, 7 when it's played against a G. It becomes different intervals, helping us get those altered tones. So we've got 5-7 and flat 2-7. The next one is the flat 7-7. So if we inserted a chord off the interval of the flat 7, which in the key of C would be a B flat, and have B flat 7, that would be what's called the backdoor dominant. Think of it as coming from the chord from underneath, if you like. And this, for me, is a more bluesy sounding, less dissonant than the tritone, and a softer way back to chord 1. And this one works again because there's some close resolves between B flat 7 and C, but also there's some shared notes between B flat 7 and G7. Let's check out the pulls of a B flat 7 arpeggio. So in terms of intervals against G first off though, remember this is being played over G7. It's no longer 1 3 5 flat 7, it's sharp 9, or you could call it flat 3. It's a fifth, it's a flat 7, and it's a flat 9. So 2 shared notes again in the fifth and the flat 7, and then 2 altered notes. And the pulls as follows. The root of a B flat chord goes up to the root of the C chord. The third of a B flat can go up to the third of the 1 chord, and the fifth goes down a semitone to the third. That's a real nice move. And the flat 7 of the B flat goes down to the fifth of the C. So it's those last 2 in that one that sound particularly good. With anything related to jazz guitar, you want to learn to hear things, not just understand them. And what I suggest you do is just take these as chord progressions and hear the differences. Play them slowly, pick out the notes, and just listen how the dominant takes you to chord 1 and how the tritone differs to the backdoor and the primary and so forth. So take the chords and just play them individually so you can hear the individual voices. This is with the regular dominant, then with the tritone, I'm using major 9 just for a bit more colour, and then the backdoor. And I think it'll sound better if I go there at the end. So in your comping, if you want to start getting into chord subs, where you've got the primary dominant, you could use the tritone or the backdoor dominant instead. Now I will just say here that you have to be careful when using these things when playing with other people. You might surprise a few people sometimes, or if you were working on an arrangement with a group of people, you might go, oh, why don't we use the tritone there instead of the primary? You just have to either have musicians that you're working with can hear it and jump on what you're doing, or you kind of talk about what you're going to do. Because if there's doubt, people will think either you're lost or they'll feel that they're lost. Good to hear it in chords, and I think sometimes we separate out soloing and comping too much. But if you were to work on this in your soloing lines, then this is where I think things get interesting. If I was just kind of thinking, hearing the standard changes of A train, I might play a solo on that A section like this. Now if I was to harness the tritone on, instead of G7, the primary dominant, I could do something like this. Little bit more dissonant, little bit more tension, and then eventual release. Now the backdoor dominant. So there, the backing track stayed the same, and I just changed the way I played over the G7 to either the tritone or the backdoor dominant. And essentially what, thinking D flat 7 or B flat 7 rather than G7, it just enables me to access tension, dissonance. Essentially it gives you that altered dominant sound, which is really useful. And of course, tension is such an important part of jazz language that it's a great way to get it into your playing. And to learn to hear these things more readily and have them at your disposal when you're playing, get them into your arpeggio practice. Say we have a 2-5-1 kind of making the changes outline, very vanilla, would sound like this. And this is the kind of practice I'd recommend with this kind of thing. First off, can you play your arpeggios just in basic fashion like I am here? So in ascending order, so our start point. Then connect them closely like this. And that sounds more like a jazz line, and it's what you want to do with your arpeggios, connect them to the closest note. If I played D flat 7, the tritone, it would be this, just regular arpeggios. And then with a connection. Sounds much better. And then with the backdoor. close connection. And yeah, I'm using the arpeggio there, but I'm connecting to the nearest note, which, you know, you've got to go through the steps of learning to hear the basic arpeggio first before you do that, but that's where you want to take your arpeggios. That will help you learn to hear it. It works. It brings in those alterations, those tensions that just makes that pull to chord 1 that bit more interesting and that bit more needed maybe. And those kind of outlines are the things I practiced to get these kind of things into my ear. You can't just suddenly just like learn about these things and then just magically, you know, use them. You have to spend the time just getting used to, you know, what this sounds like over this chord instead of using the regular dominant arpeggio, how that chord connects up to the 1 chord. That's where it's important. You don't want to be playing like a tritone or backdoor based idea that doesn't smoothly resolve into chord 1. That might just sound weird. So it's learning how a particular note of the tritone or the backdoor moves very neatly and voice leads into a note in chord 1. And that has to be just, you know, you spend time really listening to what you're doing, practicing those kind of outlines, and then try and build lines with it. And obviously listen out for when you hear it in solos. Now the diagrams from today, the tabs, the PDF, including notation and tab of those last couple of examples, are on the supporter tier of my Patreon page that is linked in the description, as well as some visual diagrams to help you kind of learn to visualize this stuff on the fretboard. A very valid thought you might have had during this lesson is, why have I not spoken about the 2 chord that would go with the tritone and the backdoor dominant? Just purely for simplicity. I think it's really important to get simple things down first, understand them, and you can always, you know, layer up that next bit of harmony when you need to, when you're ready to. But if you're interested in finding out more about that, I will link on the screen my playlist about the tritone. It's a series of videos which goes into great detail, gives you everything you need to know to really get the tritone down. So check that out if you've not seen that before. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them below. Please check out my links to my Patreon. Big thank you to everyone that supports me over there. It's much appreciated. I really enjoy making content over there for you. And any questions, leave them below. Don't forget, jazz guitar lessons here every Monday. Until next time, you take care.